Tonight, we're drinking this Stone beer. I can't say the name. Enjoy.
Hello everyone and welcome back to The Beer's Gone Bad.
Where the beer flows like wine.
We are your hosts tonight. This is Scott Van Voot.
This is the one and only Pat Tuchin.
That's me. So, we're hanging tonight. Scott, what are we doing?
Tonight, we are drinking a very special beer by Stone. It's called the Cali-Belgique, I believe, is how you pronounce it. I really don't know, so if I pronounce that wrong, by all means.
I think that sounds right.
It sounds right. It looks like it would be right. And what this is a Belgium-style IPA.
It is really, and so what we're doing here is basically, if you guys are familiar with Stone at all, Stone is one, if not the largest San Diego brewery. They are known for their, their beers like Arrogant Bastard, Stone IPA, Levitation Ale, Ruination, like big style beers. This one, how do you say it?
I would say
Belgique?
Cali-Belgique.
Belgique. On the back of the bottle, they talk about how it's basically the same as an IPA. The only difference is this beer was raised in Belgium, so...
Yeah, the yeast is a big player in this beer. So, supposedly, right?
This guy's coming in with the ABV of...
I have no idea. I'd have to read that.
Blank, and the price of $6.49 for the 22 here.
ABV...
I think it was something like 7%.
6.9.
Yeah, 6.9%. So this is going to be a Belgian-style Imperial IPA. Not Imperial, I'm sorry, Indian Pale Ale. My bad, I misspoke. We're using the...
Snifter?
The snifter tonight.
Dude, smell this thing.
I had to clear my nose, dude. Shut up.
I will say this right
off the bat. So it smells like, to me, like a standard IPA. Like, it's got a really IPA kind of hoppy flavor to it.
And it's smelling true to Stone's credit, like the way they roll. It's smelling hoppy.
Really nice golden color to it. Is not much of a head, but you know what? I'm going to put this from 1 Bud Light, 10 Rasputin. This guy's going to come in at about a 2 for me. Maybe 2.5. It's got a really nice golden color to it.
I'm down with a 2.5. I think a 2.5, 3 would work.
It smells absolutely wonderful.
It works a little cloudy.
We're big hoppy flavors, hoppy fans on the show.
We like the hops.
So anything hop is good for us. Cheers to you.
Cheers to you, Pat.
Just going to reference my shirt, by the way. We were given these by Scott's father. If you're in the San Diego area and you need a cab, if you've been drinking too much,
there you go.
444-4444. Call a cab. Don't drive home drunk.
Any area code works.
All right, so let's get into this.
You know how we do it here in San Diego with our beers. Do it big.
Oh, wow. That was not what I expected. From that smell, that did not come across taste-wise with the smell.
Not at all.
The smell, when you smell it, is very IPA-ish. It smells very hoppy. It smells like you've got that really hop up front kind of smell, and then when you taste this,
and you can see, we did a review with the Iron Fist, the Gauntlet, right? The Gauntlet Ale.
I think so, yes.
And it smelled like dirty socks. It smelled terrible. It smelled like, oh my gosh, this beer.
It did, but that beer was insane.
That beer was amazing, and it was one of those things where it's like the bouquet, or the smell, or
nicely
whatever.
Put, my friend.
And I was getting fancy on it for a minute.
All right.
It smells totally different than the way the beer actually tastes, and this is kind of one of those things too. You get that aroma of hops. It's really, really strong, really pronounced. But
when you taste it, though, you still kind of pick up.
I mean, it's hoppy.
You still pick up that IPA flavor, but it's got a much smoother, almost like, God, I want to call it like sweet, but it's got like a Belgium. Like, I know we read this online that it is a Belgian IPA, and I don't want to F with my review, but
it's not as bitter on the aftertaste
at all. It's just much smoother.
It's not as full flavor like with those hops as some of the other IPAs are, where it's just so in your face and so dry hopped and so just like, oh my gosh, this is a hoppy beer. This is not that beer, and it still has hops and it still has that Stone characteristic that you're looking for, and it has that aroma for sure. But it's a little bit smoother, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. It's probably more drinkable beer across the board.
It really is. It makes that IPA, if you're not a big fan of IPAs, but you live in San Diego, it's kind of a catch-22 because you're not going to find many microbrews in San Diego doing other things other than really hoppy versions of beers. And so, I mean that with all due respect. There's just a lot of hoppy beers in San Diego. And what this beer does for me is it allows that IPA to open up to a different palate for people that don't necessarily want that crazy hoppy flavor.
It's kind of giving the yeast a chance to showcase its flavors, and it's normally
nice. Oh, Karen.
It's normally like it's all about the hops, and in San Diego we're all about the hops, and I love it. But sometimes like we've been doing a lot of Belgiums lately, and normally I don't like those beers, and I've been really coming around because I've been drinking the right ones. I've been drinking the good ones, and you start to be able to appreciate what they're bringing to the table, the flavor of those yeasts, and how it can counter or complement the hops. And I think this beer does an amazing job with that.
I just want to point out that on the back of the bottle it says ingredients: nothing but barley, hops, water, and Belgium yeast.
And that's traditional. That's like the traditional style of brewing.
Got me.
And they nailed it. Nailed it. What do you think, Pat? Do you like it? Jeez, I'm burping all over the place tonight. Excuse me.
I do like it, and you know why I like it is because it's a much smoother IPA. Where I feel like sometimes the IPAs can come across as very hoppy, and like my roommate, for example, we just gave an Imperial from Green Flash, and that is a crazy hoppy beer, and he didn't like it at all. He didn't want to drink it. He was like, it's not my flavor palette. But I think if you were to try this, it would be something to allow him to get into that idea.
I think if you were transitioning over from yeast and Belgium styles and you wanted to get into that hoppier scene and you wanted to try and expand your palate, this is a great beer to help you along the way.
Because the Belgium offers that, that unique kind of like sweet, different yeasty kind of feel to it.
It's a totally different beer. And by golly, I think they did a good job.
By golly, I think you've done it. This is a tasty beer. Out of 10, I would give this about a 7.5, 8.
I was going to say that. I was going to say an 8's a little steep.
I'm going to go 7.5 then.
No. I'm not saying. I'm just saying an 8 is a steep. That's a good review. Where a lot of beers fall short when they're trying to hit that mark and they just barely miss it with the flavor, with the finish, with the smell. This one does it, man. It delivers. I'm going to give it an 8.
That's cool. I think we're both 8 on the board right there. Stone to us is one of those breweries that they don't mess up. Like they do really good beers.
Yeah,
I've never had one that's been bad.
They got it pretty well dialed over there.
They do a really good job with what they have going over there, and
they're one of the few companies when I see a different bottle from them, I get really excited. I'm like, oh my god, they did something else.
Right? Like you're intrigued. Like, what's going on? What is this?
And they've showcased like how well they can brew beers, all the way from the green tea IPA, which is nothing remotely close to hoppy. I mean, the flavors in that beer are...
It was kind of earthy, though.
It was earthy, but it wasn't that like Stone hoppy, arrogant bastard.
To the cherry chocolate stout, which is obviously a collaboration. To the arrogant bastard, to the ruination, to their...
They just do a lot. I mean, they're not a one-trick pony. They're not just like a dry hop beer, like, oh my gosh, if you just want a hoppy beer.
They're not. They're very... They've expanded across a broad spectrum of beers.
They're a meticulous brewery. They do a great job.
It's actually really funny. If you guys ever get a chance, they're up in Escondido. You guys should go check it out. They've got a great facility, great eatery, great beer garden.
Soon coming to San Diego.
Yeah, Liberty Station, down south.
Well, everybody...
Southern boys.
I want to encourage you to try this beer if you can find it, and let us know what you think about it. We're just interested in hearing what you have to say, as I hope you are.
I've never seen this bottle before until tonight, so we grabbed it because it was new and we didn't know any better. Scott picked it off the shelf, and I'm kind of glad you did do this. Is actually a really cool one.
I'm pumped on it. But hey, you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Flickr. I don't know.
MySpace if you want. We're not really on there. I'm just kidding.
You can probably just follow us around in person too if you really wanted to.
But realistically, we're here to help you find beers that are different to you. We say yes all the time, and so hopefully we're helping you open your palate up to different stuff out there. We're the Beers Gone Bad.
And the beer flows like wine.
Keep it craft and keep it new. Find something fun this week and go try something new, guys.
Oh, you got bonded on.
Oh, bonded. We'll see you next time, guys.
Next time.